Petroleum Nasional Berhad, also known as Petronas, is a Malaysian oil and gas company that was established in 1974. The company is fully owned by Malaysia government. The corporation is vested with the entirely oil and gas resources in Malaysia. Petronas also ranked among Fortune Global 500's largest corporations in the world. Petronas is deeply involved in almost all aspects of the oil and gas industries across the range from upstream of exploring and extracting oil and gas to downstream. As at the end of March 2005, Petronas Group has 103 wholly owned subsidiaries, 19 partly owned outfits, and 57 associated companies, which make Petronas involved in various oil and gas-based activities. Petronas is doing its business with the major strategy of integration, adding value and globalization. Petronas also has transformed from a domestic-based national oil company into a fully integrated oil and gas multinational corporation, and as a corporation, it has achieved significant milestones. Petronas also committed in managing our petroleum resources and operations to ensure sustainable development for the benefits of the people and local community in the host countries wherever they operate. There are two factors to consider having a segment reporting. First of all, nature of the products or services, which when the product or services referring to what type of product or service that the company is offering. For Petroleum Gas Berhad, they offer different products and services which are upstream, gas and new energy, downstream, and corporate and others. Furthermore, the second factor is nature of the production process, which when how actually the products and services are provided. For example, upstream is one of the reportable segmental reporting in Petronas, which involves finding and producing crude oil and natural gas. There are two types of segment for Petronas Gas Berhad, which are business segment and geographical segment. For business segment, it is a distinguishable component of an entity that is engaged in providing an individual product or service or a group of related products or services, and that is subject to risk and return that are different from those other business segment. For geographical segment, it is a distinguishable component of an entity that is engaged in providing an individual product or services within a particular economic environment, and that is subject to risk and return that are different from those of other economic environments. In this chart, it shows that there are several chief of decision making of Petronas Gas Berhad. What is chief of decision making? Chief of decision making, or CODM, is responsible to assess the performance of various segments and decide on allocation of resources to the segments. For Petronas, the CODM is the Petronas Executive Leadership Teams, or known as ELT, will review the internal management reports at least on a quarterly basis. Segment profit after tax is used to measure performance because Petronas ELT believes that such information is the most relevant in evaluating the results of the segments.
To reproduce segmental report of Petronas, there must be 4 reportable segments and 1 minimum non-reportable segment. Here we have 6 segments, which are gas processing services, gas transportation services, regasification services, LNG ancillary services, operating and maintenance services, and utilities to be classified to reportable and non-reportable segments. We need to use 10% threshold test to identify either it is reportable or non-reportable. It is reportable when the total, both external and internal, are exceed 10% of combined in revenue of all operating segments. There are three methods, which are revenue method, profit or loss method, and asset method. But for Petronas, we use revenue method in measuring each operating segment. After determining the reportable segments, we should ensure that the total external revenue attributable to those reportable segments is more than 75% of the entity's total revenue. When the 75% threshold is not met, additional reportable segments should be identified until at least 75% of the entity's total external revenue is included in its reportable segments.
To reproduce a new reportable segment, first we need to identify either each segment are reportable or non-reportable. First, we need to use a 10% threshold test for each segment to identify and see whether each segment are reportable or non-reportable. The formula to identify the reportable segment by using 10% threshold test is the total internal and external of each segment divided by the total revenue of all the segments. So, let's look at the table that has been provided. If the amount calculated more than 10%, the segment will be classified as reportable segment. But if the amount calculated less than 10%, then the segment will be classified as non-reportable segment. So, after calculation has been made for each segment, we can see that only gas processing services, gas transportation services, regasification services, and utilities are reportable segments because their percentage is more than 10% threshold test. Meanwhile, for the other two segments, which are LNG ancillary services and operation and maintenance services, will be classified as non-reportable segment because their percentage is less than 10% threshold test. Next, after determining the reportable segments, we should ensure that the total external revenue attributable to those reportable segments is at least 75% of the entity's total revenue. The formula to identify the 75% rule is the total of external revenue of all the reportable segments divided by the total external revenue of all the segments. By referring to the table shown, we can see that the all reportable segment met the requirement of 75% rules because the percentage is 95.63%, which is more than 75%. So, the company no need to identify any additional reportable segment. But when the 75% threshold is not met, additional reportable segments should be identified even if they do not meet the 10% threshold until at least 75% of the entity's total external revenue is included in the each reportable segments. As you can see in the new segmental reportable, the Petronas gas per head shows that there are 4 reportable segments and 2 non-reportable segments. All the 2 non-reportable segments, which are LNG ancillary services and operations and maintenance services, will be combined together and disclosed under other segments category.
The first advantage of segment reporting is allocation of resources. Segment information, if disclosed to parties outside the enterprise, would play an important role in improving the allocation of scarce resources in an economy. Non-availability of information creates uncertainty in the investment market and thereby makes the investment market inefficient. The disclosure of information removes the imperfections in the investment market and causes the market to function properly. Also, the disclosure of segment information may influence greatly management performance and encourages them to work in the interest of society and investors. It helps in checking corporate abuses related to such matters as fraud, unfair pricing policy, and trade practices. The next advantage of segment reporting is investment and credit decisions. It is widely recognized by authors in accounting and finance, accountants and accounting bodies that segment information has great usefulness in investment and credit decisions. It is argued that segment information enables the financial statement users to better analyze the uncertainty surrounding the timing and of expected cash flows and therefore the risk related to an investment or a loan to an enterprise that operates in different industries and markets. Since the progress and prospect of diversified enterprise are composites of the progress and prospect of its several parts, financial statement users regard financial information on a less than total enterprise basis as also important. And now are the disadvantages of segment reporting. The first one is the base or basis of segmentation. How a diversified company would be fractionalized for reporting purposes is a problem in segment reporting. A diversified company may be divided for segment reporting purposes in terms of organization division, industry, market, customer, product, and etc. Each base of segmentation may create segments that differ significantly in profitability, growth, and risk, and each implies a different basis for identifying segments. Moreover, more than one form of diversification may be present in the segment. Second disadvantages of segment reporting is allocation of common costs. In a business enterprise producing more than one product or engaged in different activities, there are likely to be costs that are common to two or more products. Examples of common costs are general administrative and selling expenses, legal expenses, general advertising, and etc. Because these costs are common to more than one segment, they can't be associated entirely with a single segment. The problem of allocating common costs is greater for some items than for others. It is particularly great for assets, liabilities, and equities, so that reporting for business segment is suggested less often for more information from the balance sheet, statement of shareholders' equity, and fund statement than for information from the income statement. An interim report is a set of a company's financial statements for a period shorter than a financial year. An interim report can be prepared monthly or quarterly or ad hoc when it is required to evaluate a company's financial performances and position at any given time. Next is the basis of preparation of the interim report. For Petronas Gas Berhad, their interim report was prepared on integral basis, which means each interim period is considered to be an integral part of the annual accounting period. For example, variance of revenue for fourth quarter is compared to the variance of the third quarter.
Accounting policies used in preparing the interim report. During the financial period, the group has adopted the following amendments to MFRS that have been issued by the Malaysian Accounting Standard Board (MASB), which are amendments to MFRS 9 Financial Instrument, MFRS 139 Financial Instrument Recognition and Measurement, MFRS 7 Financial Instrument Disclosure, and MFRS 16 Leases. Types of interim report. Petronas choose to apply condensed set of financial statements in preparing their interim financial report rather than complete set of financial statements. In the report accordance, MFRS 134 prescribes that Set of condensed financial statements consists of minimum content for the current period and comparative prior period information such as statement of financial position, statement of comprehensive income, statement of cash flows, statement of changes in equity, and selected explanatory notes as required by MFRS 134.
Next, I'm going to explain the period for the current and comparative of each statement prepared by Petronas Gas Berhad. Petronas Gas Berhad financial year ended is 31st December 2021. The current and comparative period for each statement prepared by the company according to the MFRS 134 interim reporting will be measured from 1st October 2021 until 31st December 2021, which equivalent to the 4th interim quarter of Petronas Gas Berhad in 2021. For the statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income, the current interim period is 3 months from 1st October 2021 until 31st December 2021. The cumulative for the current financial year reporting period is 12 months starting from 1st January 2020 until 31st December 2020. The comparative comprehensive income of current interim reporting period is 3 months starting from 1st October 2020 until 31st December 2020. The comparative of the immediate preceding financial year to date reporting period is 12 months starting from 1st January 2020 until 31st December 2020. As for the statement of changes in equity, the cumulative for the current financial year reporting period is 12 months starting from 1st January 2021 until 31st December 2021. Meanwhile, for the comparative for the immediate preceding financial year to date is 12 months starting from 1st January 2020 until 31st December 2020. For the statement of financial position as at the end of the current interim reporting period is 3 months starting from 1st October 2021 until 31st December 2021. While the comparative for the immediate preceding financial year to date of reporting period is 12 months starting from 1st January 2020 until 31st December 2020. For the statement of cash flows, the cumulative for the current financial year reporting period is 3 months from 1st October 2021 until 31st December 2021, while the comparative comprehensive for the immediate preceding financial year to date reporting period is 3 months starting from 1st October 2020 until 31st December 2020.
For the first adjustment, it involves non-current asset which part of plant and machinery. The situation for the first adjustment is on 1st January 2021, Petronas Gas Berhad plant and machinery is costing 5,365,000 with its accumulated depreciation as at 1st January 2021 amounting to 3,435,000. The company depreciates all of its plant and machinery on a straight line basis at 20%. On 31st September 2021, Petronas Gas Berhad decided to dispose one of its machine with a carrying amount of 200 million for a profit of 50 million. The machine was initially purchased by the company at a cost of 350 million. On 1st October 2021, the company acquired a new machine at a cost of 500 million. For this slide, it shows the working for calculating the depreciation and the carrying amount of the plant and machinery as at 1 October 2021. For the disposal, the carrying amount of the old machine will be derecognized and the new machine will be capitalized as a part of the machinery since it satisfies the requirement of PPE or plant, property and equipment based on MFRS 116. Therefore, the carrying amount that we will get is 1,477,750,000. In this slide, we will discuss about the net realizable value of equipment. In this situation, on 1st January 2021, Petronas Gas Berhad had an opening inventory of 45,951,000. Every year, the price of its inventory will change. On 31st August 2021, the company had an inventory of 30 million units at a cost per unit of RM1.60. At 31st August 2021, the net realizable value of the inventories is at RM1.45 per unit. The expected net realizable value of the inventories as at 31st December 2021 is RM1.75. Now, in this slide, we will discuss about the working of the second adjustment. Petronas Gas Berhad should recognize its NRV amounting 43.5 million as the value of the inventories because it is lower than the cost as at 31st August 2021. Then, the loss of inventories amounting 4.5 million should be recorded in SOPL. Lastly, on 31st December 2021, the value of inventories will be recognized by using the cost of 48 million. However, Petronas Gas Berhad should reverse back the inventory loss amounting 4.5 million that was previously recognized in SOPL. As you can see, this is the extract of the statement of financial position as at 31st December 2021 before the adjustment. Those are the values for non-current assets and current asset for Petronas Gas Berhad as at 31st December 2021. Now, this last slide shows the extract of SOFP after have made the adjustment. To prepare this statement of financial position, we are required to record it based on two dates which are current interim and comparative. Current interim refer to current quarter while comparative refer to the period of the statement of financial position at the end of immediately preceding financial year of 2020. As we can see, the adjustment have been made to the value of plant and machinery and its accumulated depreciation. So the carrying amount will be 1,477.74 million. Other than that, the value of the inventories also have been adjusted according to the second adjustment just now. I think that's all from us. I hope we all do the best and satisfy all the requirement for this presentation. Thank you.